So our week on the farm has ended for now, and gee, it's been a bloody challenge. But, and this video probably shows some of those frustrations, but also some of the progress that we've actually had. And I am happy with some of the progress we've got. And we have got future plans to come back later in the year, to do a bit more work, like the next stages of things that we want to do. And so, yeah, back to Chiang Mai for now, but we're enjoying some street food chicken here on the side of the highway on our way back. And I've got myself an Americano and I'm going to chill. But yes, this was our last week on the farm. That's what all this video is about. And some of the things that we got up to during this week. So enjoy. And yeah, feel free to leave your comments or your experiences of starting a farm project in anywhere in Thailand really, and some of your own challenges that you had, whether it was with builders, local villagers, your extended family like in my case. But I don't know, it's just been an experience, I'm going to tell you that. But one thing it has given me is a new appreciation for living out in rural life. Like 3 weeks being in the village, living amongst the villagers, it really made me a bit relaxed. I became quite chilled, and I really can see myself living there for extended periods later, in a couple of years from now, as we slowly build more and more until we make it comfortable for us. And there's that's that big drive between Chiang Mai and Ubon Ratchathani. Chiang Mai is where we've got our primary house at the moment, but I can see myself living more and more on the rural land there. It's just so peaceful, so calm being out there in rural Thailand. But anyway, enjoy the video. So yes, this is halfway through the 3rd week. And because we listened to my father-in-law, which I'm really pissed off at now, we didn't go with what we were originally planning to do. We've had delays, we've had cost blowouts, we've had our tank broken. That's just I don't know, just too many problems that we've had. But me and Anne were just discussing it in the car now, that we're not listening to any advice from her father anymore, and that we're just going to do things our way. Because all that happens every time we listen to our father-in-law, more problems occur. And then he starts bringing in extra people that, yeah, they got skill, but they just do things not exactly how we want it, and they're not doing things to the speed that we actually wanted either. Like that little hut behind us should have taken less than a week to build. It's in the 3rd week now, but let's have a look at it. See, really the only thing that got progress really quickly was putting that roof on. So we had the roof put on, and then what they did, they spent ages welding all this metal together. And I don't even know why they welded the metal together. I don't know why they didn't use some other way of just connecting all the metal bars together, but somehow they thought welding was much more efficiently joining it all together. Though I still think that's going to be pretty weak, and maybe they should have used some extra sort of screws to hold it all together as well. And so I'm a bit concerned regarding that, because you look at it, this is what they've done. Rather than actually putting extra bolts, like connecting it and making it stronger, they've just done pure welding on everything here. So I get a bit worried about that and how strong it actually is. And yeah, they've put the thick board on here, which was good. But I don't know why it's taken them so long to do something simple as putting these outside walls on. And even look at that roof. That little piece of square there, just to give you context, that took a whole day just to put that one piece up on the roof. So Anne was watching them, and they were just putting it up, pulling it down, putting it up, putting it down. And I don't know, I've built similar things to this in the past, but I've been busy doing other stuff and I haven't been here. But even these, they haven't even been using proper measuring. They've just been using their eye to just cut with it. So they haven't even properly evenly cut things with ruler and pen and things like that and measuring it all out. Just a simple thing. And really you could have just cut one piece. Like you could have just cut one piece that went down here, went up and went right to the roof, and then put it against it. But no, they have to cut little small pieces all over the place. and do it like this in a sort of like botchy type work, which is not exactly going to be good for waterproofing. So look at this, we're going to have to put something in between there to stop water going in. And I know it's only a small farm hut, but still, yeah, there's just problem after problem at the moment. And yeah, I don't know why they've chosen to do things the way they're doing it. See this here, these sheets, this is the size of these sheets. So that would have been big enough, really, just to do 2 sheets. So that could have just been done in just 2 even sheets. Done. But no, they want to do it in bits and pieces and little squares and cut everything unevenly. And they're not even taking... And you would have thought with the time they're taking to actually make this, that they would have actually showed more caution. But nothing's fitting. And so even this, because they've made it rough like this, it's not going to necessarily sit even. I don't know what they're going to do, really. I'm just shaking my head. I really am. With what's actually happening here. I'm not swearing enough. I'm not swearing anymore, mainly because I'm just accepting that they don't know what they're doing. Anne's going to bring in another builder guy, who's a builder with his brother, who's a local teacher, but his brother's a builder. And we're going to get them in to come and help us. Just finish off what these two are taking forever to do. And I just said, just pay the extra money. Just bring in a couple of extra people that actually know what they're doing. Anne was digging these holes because what we're doing is we're bringing this out further and we're putting a roof. That's all along this area here. So we're bringing the roof out a little bit so there's some undercover. Anne had to lecture her dad the other day that just stop doing things, really, because it's just too much. Yeah, it's just too much, really. But yeah, just look at this. This is their idea of it being strong. So let's weld that together, and that's supposed to hold the whole house. So that whole structure there is held together just by dodgy welding jobs. Personally, I'd be putting another metal plate across there with screws to reinforce it. But I could be wrong. I'm not a builder. I'm just saying I'm a social worker and I'm a mental health clinician. But I've just been around my dad renovating houses for years, mum and dad. And my parents used to buy old houses and that were run down. And then all of us kids used to be helping mum and dad renovate the houses and doing bits and pieces. So really it's just some knowledge I have from doing stuff with mum and dad where I've seen what's done right and what's done wrong. But yeah, I know it's not supposed to be anything fancy. We're just recycling. The idea was recycle an old metal shack so that at least we've got somewhere for the father-in-law to mother-in-law to stay on the farm when they need to look after things. Because they're just stealing all sorts of things from these farms once rice season hits, that's when all the thieves start coming out from the other village, and they'll pull up in actual trucks like along the road here. And then what they're going to do is that they will just come onto your property and start stealing shit. We're looking at putting, and that's the reason why I'm building the hut more than anything, over to this area. We might build a bigger house here eventually, but we're looking at putting a granny flat over towards that area as well. Just walking over here. Along here we've just got our different trees that we wanted to plant. Wait a minute, what's this? What did they plant here? Don't know what that is. Might understand what she's actually planted there. Let's keep walking around. So here's the other thing we're looking at doing. So we're just mapping this out to put a big cement block down there where we're going to put the new water tank eventually. And that's the bore over there. We've got an electric pump thing there. And so we've just got to fix all that up too and then reconnect it all. Also, our land actually comes out here a little bit, then goes across. But the previous owner was the guy in the house across here, I believe. I could be wrong. And so he was probably just building this for himself, and so he was making it nice and rectangle. But when we get the government officials to measure it out, we may find we've actually got more land available to us to do work as well. But yeah, so when you're working on these sort of farms, like as an expat, you come out here, you've got a lot of learning to do. First, it's like mapping out where all the local sort of businesses are, you know, your construction companies and all that sort of stuff. Getting to know like who is actually half decent at doing their job, like local builders with good reputations, all that sort of stuff. I'm learning you got to do a lot of research around all that. That just accepting what your extended family of your wife says, like if you're a guy marrying a Thai woman out here coming out to build a farm, don't just rely on the advice of the extended family. Because, well, the other thing you sort of have out here is that you got a problem with a lot of Thai farmers and people living in the rural areas. They have a lot of problems with gambling addiction, alcohol addiction. They're caught up in a whole bunch of local village politics. And yeah, they may be good at farming and maybe good at just running the farm as such. But when it comes to more of that technical stuff that you might want done as an expat coming here to build a farm, their knowledge is going to lack in some of that area. Sometimes it's going to be good, sometimes it's not. So you really got to do your own due diligence and research. And I think coming out here for this 3 weeks, by the end of this week, I would have learnt so much, I believe. And what I've had to experience here, the frustration, the stress, getting pissed off, getting annoyed. I've learned a lot, and I probably won't make the same mistakes again. Now I know exactly what I can rely on and what I can't. So I'm going to test this other builder out and thinking of hiring. I'm going to confirm that, whether they can get them here. But this builder and this teacher guy lives in the town, and his brother who's an actual builder, but he couldn't come out today and help out because he's on another building site. So we're going to get him out here to try and help finish off things quickly and get things done before we leave on Sunday back to Chiang Mai. But that's where it's at right now. Let's just see how the rest of the week turns out. So Anne's got a builder up there now, just taking a look at what work we need to actually fix up so we can try and get it finished before we leave on Sunday. And so he's going to give us a bit of a quote, and he's going to tell us the items that we need, because it's a public holiday tomorrow, and so a lot of the shops are going to be closed. So whatever we need extra, we've got to buy today. But let's see what this guy's got to offer in regards to all the suggestions that he's actually making around what work we need to do to try and get at least the basics finished before we leave. But let's see how we go. I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic, but you just never know what's going to happen when you're doing things in Thailand. I just walked down to the dam while Anne's talking to the builder, and yeah, they were swimming in the dam yesterday, and her niece, and they said they found one of the large turtles and the small turtle that we actually released into there, and so at least we know the turtles are still in the water and plotting around. There's probably a lot of food for them in the dam there as well, and it's just good to have them in, because I don't know, that lady that was selling them at the markets, they would have died if she kept them the way they were. So I'm glad I rescued some of those turtles and just released them into our dam to give them a second life. And I don't mind having a few turtles in the dam. I used to keep reptiles as a pet, so this is like keeping them openly in the wild. But yeah, there's still a few fish jumping around there I was just seeing earlier. But they breed a lot more when the dam gets higher, so I really want to fix the wall on the other side of the dam as well, just to heighten that up, so when the water fills up here, it's a lot better. But let's see how we go anyway on that, because it is still sort of dry season after the heavy rain the last couple of days. Looks like the chili plants out here are doing a little bit better that we've got, the small ones. But they've got a couple of buckets here. They're just grabbing the water from the dam and just watering them here. I'd love to run the irrigation pipe all the way down here though, but I'm sort of reluctant to do that until we fix all this soil up as well, till we heighten it. I'm thinking of telling Anne just to get the other rice farm across the thing there just ploughed before we go, just so it's ready for rice season, just turning the soil over. But anyway, I got some things to do. So there was a building company we were looking at in Ubon Ratchathani, and this is one of their houses that they're actually building out here in the rural areas, and quite a beautiful house. How much was this sort of design, honey? So a design like this was about 3,100,000 baht out here. And you can see the name of the builders there. That place there, if you're looking at it, Curiosity. And Ben Dean, Architect, Design and Construction Co. But they looked like they had some pretty good designs. And it's a Westerner building this house out here. And it's probably going to be the only house of its type that I can see when I've been walking around. The only modern house. The rest of it's all sort of like farmland like that out here. And rubber plantations. So the house is really going to stand out in that big block. And we're thinking of a single story later down the track, maybe in 5 years, of something like that. But we want to pay off some other things first in Chiang Mai that we've got going. And but yeah, it's a nice, comfortable Western style house though, must admit. But I suppose if you retired early and you got that much money, why not? But you got to put that 30-year leasehold on it, I guess, if you're going to build something like that. So we've hired some proper builders now, and I remember the other day they spent the whole day just putting one little square piece of thing on the roof, which these builders have come in and taken down what the other guys put up. And it looks like they'll move quite fast today by the looks of it, because there's 3 of them there working hard. I just went, you know what, bugger it. I'm going to pay extra money, get these guys in, and make it move twice as fast. And obviously I made the right decision so far. So let's see what they come up with by the end of the day, how far we go. And right now it's Thursday, right? So I'm hoping to have a lot of the basic work done, or at least majority of it completed before I leave on Sunday morning. So 3rd week, and only now it's getting real progress, I would say. And though we did have some progress, it was taking way too long. Like, just really using the wrong people here. And we've kicked my father-in-law off the building site as such, and basically said don't touch anything and just sit there and watch. And because he was slowing everything down and just causing us more problems than it was worth. Yeah, easily over 15,000 baht he's cost us just with his dumb decisions. But yeah, at least we know we've learnt a lot from this experience, I'm going to say, and we're continuing to learn from this experience. Oh yeah, so got some progress there. Started to get the second roof going. Oh yeah, that's not too bad. So at least there's some progress today. Getting the extra frames up for the roof. A bit of an extension there coming out of the hut. Okay. That's good. So finally, all the walls are up, almost. This dumb dog starting fights It's not my dog, it just follows me around everywhere. Just looking at different types of solar lights here. I'm just looking at this one here. It's like buy one, get one. Just thought it's good to maybe put some solar lights around the outside of the next to the house and around the farm. So 2,000 baht for two. That's not too bad. Anne's just comparing it with another model. Look at this one. 3,200. That one's going to be pretty huge, lighting up things. But you also got all these other ones too. We were here the other day, but today we just want to buy a couple of them. So this is the one you're looking at? For two?
For two, that's 2,000.
400?
No.
Which one?
The price. No, they didn't have the show one.
Ah, they don't have it on show. So yeah, it's about the same, 2,000. But for the Philips. Good thing I like about these stores, you can mix and match and create your own sort of light. All the electrical equipment here that you can buy. So we've bought sort of one of those where we've got like the switches above, the plugs below. And we're just going to get the uncle to install them for us. But yeah, you got to know what you're looking for when you come to these places. I'm definitely not an electrician, but the lady's helping us pretty good. It's interesting, we're just in this architectural place here where they build and design houses for you. And they've got a whole bunch of designs to choose from, heaps. Anywhere from 1.49 mil or even 1 mil, right up to, sky's the limit really, when it comes to pages. But for about 2.49 million, you get yourself a nice big 4-bedroom double-storey house. Now, one of the things that's quite interesting here is that I went, well, if you haven't got the cash, how do you actually buy the house? And they were saying there's a particular government bank that's connected with for foreigners that want to actually take a loan to build the house. So you're building the house is yours, but of course the land's your partner's. But you can actually apparently get a loan. They check your finances back in your home country, and as well as Thailand if you're working here, for example. And then they decide, they reckon it takes about 3 months or something to do a credit check if they're looking at your finances overseas, to decide whether the government bank's willing to give you a home, give you the money to actually take a home loan as such. And yeah, I didn't know they could do that, but I'm going to inquire more and dig more into this when we get back into Chiang Mai, because I'm really curious about foreigners taking a home loan here when you're an overseas investor as such, with the particular banks here. So yeah, I don't know, I've never heard of it before, but there is a particular bank that's designed just for foreigners, so I'm going to dig. And the more information I get on this, I'll tell you maybe in later videos. But this is in Ubon Ratchathani, so you can see their phone numbers. They've also got line if you're trying to inquire and dig, and also got a website. If we go over here, this particular place here. But really, it's not bad. If you were looking at buying something, 1.5 million, you're getting a Western style design house. Oh, I like that one. Look at this one here. Looks very fancy. That design. A 4-bedroom house there, ground level. And I know there's one near us, where our farm is, that are using this exact building company at the moment. So I'm watching how the quality is that they're actually putting together. So just inside this little building construction company, Bendine Architect Design and Construction Co. But look at these. So if you've got your own land, 1.84 million baht, you get yourself a 3-bedroom there. Not bad designs. 2.19 million baht. You're getting this sort of design, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Here's another one. 1.99. Another 3-bedroom design. Go a bit upmarket, double story. 2.49. There's a lot of different designs here. Like even these ones, double carport, 3-bedroom house again, 3-bathroom, 2.69 million. That looks pretty trendy, 2.59. But yeah, they just got photos of different people that have built, like this one here. Look at that design. Built some nice houses here. Got this. Bottom level. This is the second level. But yes, some of the conditions of these loans, like from this housing bank, this where local Thais can also get home loans for houses, is that yes, the expats can do it, but they've got to be married to a Thai partner, and then they've got to do a credit check on you, apparently. So your Thai partner owns the land, as they do. You could have a leasehold on it, and so you could be getting a loan to build the house on there as well. Now, I'm not sure how it all works, so it's still very up in the air. I still have to do a lot more digging on it, but that was generally what we were told. So we're just looking at the water tanks again, and 2,790 to buy this particular water tank, 1,000 litres. And so we reckon this one? Yeah. All right, we'll go that one then. One. When we were talking to the architects, the house design place, house builders, they told us they'd be after sort of like building equipment, whether it be water tanks or other bits and pieces. They reckon Home Hub here was actually cheaper. So that's why we've come here, just to buy the new water tank and some of the other parts that we need for it and some other bits and pieces, and we're just paying for delivery now. But yeah, so just consider that if you're in Ubon Ratchathani looking for building equipment, then maybe Home Hub may be the way to go. Yeah. Do they come and pray here when they started building something? Yeah. Oh yeah, flowers. Come on, pocket. Okay. So she said they come and pray here when they're trying to build something new. So Anne's just going in here now to do some prayers. This is right next to the museum here in Ubon Ratchathani, which we're just inside. The museum's just over there. Apparently there's some really strong sort of Ganesh energy there. So if you believe in Hinduism and Ganesh, then the museum next to us there has 1,000-year-old Ganeshas in there. Well, they're close to 1,000 years old, the old statues in there. But I'm a very spiritual person, and yeah, I believe in Buddha and Hinduism and Ganesh and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, so I was in there doing some prayers as well. Even though it's not a temple, it was just a representative of Ganesh, I guess, that people feel that there's strong energy there where they can get blessings. But we're going to go inside here too and do some prayers. What's this? The golden shower tree as well. Holy tree. So there's a bit of a park here as well. I might just walk over here. We'll check it out. Let's go inside. Get my shoes off. Never wear shoes in a temple when it comes to Hindu or Buddhist temples. Inside of it here. Now this is the museum here too. It's directly opposite this temple complex here, and about 20 baht for local Thais and 100 baht for tourists. So that's the Ubon Ratchathani National Museum, and there's history in there, there's artifacts in there, and it's not bad just to walk around and get a bit of a feel for local history. I don't mind it. The first time round I guess I found it a bit boring, but the second time round, because I've been in Thailand for a while, it actually had more meaning to me. Like just reading over things, looking at the artifacts again. So there was also and I don't know, I felt a bit more bonded with the place. I'm going to admit. Complex, and I thought I'd go in and take a quick walk. And wanted to go in there specifically for the Ganesh, as I mentioned before. But the Ganesh that everyone comes to just to do some quick prayers. So let's go inside and check it out. Now, a fairly simplistic temple here. It had the Buddha at the end of it there, and a lot of room in this place, quite a big sort of enclosure, and there was only one monk just sitting there relaxing inside. So at first there was progress on the farm because we employed a builder and another labourer to get things done really fast. So the frame around the actual hut got built really quickly. The inside of the hut got the walls put up really quickly. And then the builder had some other problems and just randomly disappeared. Even though we paid him for 2 days labour, he hasn't been back yet because he's on another building project. So he's like dual skilling. He's going over to one building project and then coming back here later in the afternoon or early in the morning, trying to do 2 at once. And he left a bunch of his labourers to work on another house. And this is how dumb some of the labourers are. He gave his labourers that were building a house, a job he had, and this builder guy, and he said he suddenly had an emergency call. He'd get the builders that he had employed as the head builder to help him had put the roof wrong on the house that they were actually working on. And so he had to go back there. He dumped our job and had to run over to this other house to fix up the roof, spend a day pulling the roof apart and putting it back together because his builders stuffed up things. They didn't follow any of the direction he gave them as the head builder. So even Thai builders have problems with their own builders, which is freaking funny. But I don't know, I've still got frustration with my father-in-law. The amount of extra money he's cost us, if I just did what I was wanting to do in the beginning, I wouldn't have had broken water tanks, I wouldn't have had like problems, dodgy installations, all that sort of stuff. But now we're actually starting to take a bit more of a control of it. And here's another thing that we did. And had said to her father, because he said, no, I've got my builder friend. We're all going to do it. We're all going to fix it. We're going to get it all done. So he paid his builder mate to do it. And his builder mate's got skill, but my father-in-law's got absolutely none, really. And he just screws things up. And, but yeah, as you can see behind me, and I'll show you in a sec, there is progress. But we just had one drama after another. What should have been really less than a week's work has now gone into the 3rd week of problems. And it is really frustrating. I don't know. It's just chaos. It's like they do things on Thai time. I'm just going to say that. But let's have a look at some of the things we've done anyway. So because because it gets quite dark here, we decided to install this little solar light. It's actually not too bad, this solar light. It's Philips brand, and they were about 1,000 baht each, these Philips lights, and I've got a bit of a video on it earlier where I did film it when we were in the shop. And what happens with them, they've got a sensor light on them, so at night they'll have a dim light, but if you walk under them, it just lights up the whole area. And so when you consider it, there's no street lights on any of this farm road here, right? So what we've done now is this probably is the only light that lights up, and we're going to put another one. See the power line at the top? We've got to replace that power line, but we're going to put another one of those solar lights right at the top there of that roofing frame. So this is the progress we've got. We've managed to get all the internal walling done, but because of my father-in-law, he had pulled apart the whole window kit. I'll show you this. So we got the frame here for this extended little roof for the hut, which gives it a bit more shelter, you know, in the heat and in the sun. And also, we got all this wall done, but we've got to do some waterproofing on the outside somehow as well, because originally, again, father-in-law had cut it all wrong. And what he had also done, see, we bought these windows as a kit, right? And for some stupid reason, because when you buy them as a kit, right, they're all connected, they're already put together. But my father-in-law, he decided in his smart intelligence that he would pull it apart and put it together bit by bit. And so this is where you can see they're damaged and they're bent, because he decided pulling it apart was a smart thing to do. And so they're a little bit dodgy in how they're connecting now. Because of this, they don't slide as well because of what he done. And there's a reason why we bought them as a kit, but there's really no common sense. I'm just going to say that when it comes to some of these people, it's kind of like, why do you think we buy a whole window set in a kit that's already built? It's not so you can pull it apart and then put it back together later. It comes as a kit, so you can just slide it in the wall. But I don't know. Just the things they do when we're not around, it just stuffs it. Now we've started to fix this, and we're building a mixture of brick. I've just seen some of the stuff he's done. Again, I'm going to get really stressed soon. But originally we bought extra bricks, and we wanted to buy these ones, right, and just do layers of these right to the roof, just so you had the air coming out on this outdoor toilet. But what he's done is then put more of these bricks on when we were using those bricks for something else. So again, does stuff just without thinking. No, well, we just went out this morning to buy a new water tank. I come back and he's screwing it up again. But, oh well. You just got to get used to what they're doing, actually. I'm learning very quickly. And this was only supposed to be a simple job. You know, just put the little hut together, put some walls on it, put a roof on it, cement that. And it didn't exactly turn out how we wanted. But it's going to be basic anyway. And it's still going to give shade. It's still going to give them somewhere to sleep. I'm looking at the roof up here, right? I wanted them to buy a new piece of roofing for the top there, you know, where the roof joins. That's just to stop water coming in. But what do? They decided to recycle the old one and on there as well. But they're not doing a bad job. At the end of the day, it's not meant to be a big fancy house. It's meant to be just a hut where you can come out, sleep in if you want to. It's going to have electricity. It's going to have a little fan inside it. We're going to paint the outside, fix up the inside a little bit, paint the metal with some rust-proofing stuff, and tile around the toilet. We're going to put proper tap on the toilet. So I'm going to show you something else. So let's go into this. Today we bought some extra plumbing equipment. And we're just going to put a proper tap on this. Because right now, if the water pressure builds up on that, what happens is that pop flies off across the room and water just goes everywhere. So we're going to be fixing that and putting a proper tap on it. I was reading some of the other comments from the last video I put up, and yeah, I think most people agree. We're going to learn that things are not going to be necessarily done by Western standard or anything like that, or even standards in our home country, because they just do it their way out in the rural areas and out in the regional areas. Unless you're hiring a proper construction company, and even then you got to be watching them closely. We found in our house in Chiang Mai, though it was built really well, the house in Chiang Mai, we still had to constantly be on their back, and there was still a few stuff ups that weren't exactly what we wanted, and maybe we made a few mistakes in that build as well. And there's some early videos on my build in Chiang Mai as well, on our other house, and I think I put about 4 or 5 videos or something like that during the construction period. But yeah, you learn a bloody lot being out here. Like 3 weeks out here on the farm, I've learned a lot about the village. I've learned a lot about the capabilities of the village and the type of skill sets I can expect here. The construction companies out here in Ubon Ratchathani, where if you want to build a modern house, you can build a really good modern house for about 1.5 million baht. If you go to Western style, that is, like even looking like an Australian house, about 1.5 million baht, I could get myself a nice 3-bedroom. And earlier in this video, you'll see some of that. And but overall, what can I do? I'm just a little bit over it. I'm going to be glad to get back to Chiang Mai for now. But here's another thing we've done today. So, rather than putting it back up on stilts like it was the father-in-law's brilliant idea, apparently, we got another 1,000 litre water tank. We got one that's a bit stronger in material than the other one as well, so a little bit more expensive. And we've built a little bit of a frame here this morning. They cemented this frame. They've broken up some of the old concrete in the middle there, just to harden the soil a bit. And we're going to fill that up with cement, so to the surface there. And then we're going to mount the water tank on it, and also mount the pump on top of it as well. And again, put a cage around the pump. And we've got some more water piping. Oh, I think that one may be a bit thin that we bought. Yeah, it's thinner than the other ones. I think we bought the wrong one. Oh, that's okay. We can get them to buy some extra. We can send them some money. But still, this is what I originally thought they were going to do. You know, build a bit of a frame, build a bit of a concrete foundation for the water tank to sit on. Sort of like what we've got in Chiang Mai. But nah, they just thought, let's put some concrete directly on this soft soil and hope it doesn't fall over in the rain. That was the thoughts before. But yes, tomorrow we're going to head back. When we haven't got everything done that we wanted to do, unfortunately. And there's still a lot to do, and we probably won't be back here until October. And then in October we're debating now whether to build the granny flat or not right now. And especially after talking to a construction firm today. And yeah, at least we've got a hut here where they can stay out here and protect the farm. At least scare people off when rice season comes and all that. And they can continue to look after these fruit trees that we've planted all around the edge here. And then when we come back, we're thinking of getting a truck out here. And we're going to just throw some soil around the end there, around the edges. Some more soil. And maybe we're going to dump about 50 more truckloads of soil over there where the rice field is right now after rice season, and start to heighten that soil up. Anne's thinking just to road level, but who knows, we may put it higher. And then once we get the surveyors out here to measure right around the edges, once we've done that, then we're going to put the concrete fence around this area. Put a gate there, concrete fence along here, gate there, and concrete fence all around this square bit here. And then the rest of it eventually is going to be concrete poles and barbed wire fence. So that's the initial discussions we're having. But as you know, in Thailand, anything could change. But there's some advantages to a dam, like especially when it's shallow and there's not much in it. The kids just jump in it and have a good swim. So that's a couple of our nieces with one of their friends just going in there. There is still fish in there, but I think they're mainly small fish left in there now. And 3 turtles still in there somewhere. But yeah, they're having fun. I'll be interested to see how deep, what happens in wet season with this dam. But right now it's still pretty shallow. But yes, this is our swimming pool. A bit of a murky swimming pool, maybe needs some sterilisation, but a nice muddy swimming pool. Sort of reminds me of swimming in the rivers in Australia, except maybe they're not clay colour in Australia. This is the reason why I don't want to build with wood on the farm. You're getting these mounds all around the farm here. This is an active termite mound, and this whole farm area is just covered in them. And that's the reason why I'm using metal frames, concrete poles, concrete, rather than wood. Because even the house where currently the mother-in-law and father-in-law stay, it's made out of all wood, and it's eaten away, and the roof is actually falling in. But just look at this, how... So this is fully active termite mound here. And you can see, oh, I don't know whether you can see them, but yeah, I can see them walking through the mound, the termites in there. But yeah, it's an old one.
They're inside.
Yeah.
Inside here.
Ah.
Inside here.
It's just chipping away at it.
See, inside the hole. See, a lot.
Ah.
There's a big one.
Just digging away at that.
Really strong one, like a condo.
Yeah, it's like a termite condo here. But all along this area here of the farm, it's just scattered with termite mounds. But yeah, active termites all over the farm. So that's why I won't use wood, and I'm only going to use metal frame or concrete poles. Even if I build a new house, it's going to be concrete, metal, and bricks, because termites can't eat through them. At least this is going to be pretty solid. But look at here. So this whole frame is metal, and they've bolted it with concrete against the concrete, and then we've reinforced it and strengthened it, connecting it to the toilet. I should have done a bit more research before buying tropical fruit trees though, because we're buying them from a local nursery, so we thought, oh, they'll grow naturally here. But some of them are just not handling the direct sun well. I forget which one that is, but we bought a mixture of like longan, mango, lychee, and some of them are surviving okay, and the leaves are still quite green and strong. But yeah, 2 of them there have already died. But at least some of these trees are still going okay. Over here, another one. So that one's still nice and strong. So yeah, a few of them are surviving, extremely strong, not really bothered too much by the direct sunlight. There's only a couple of them there that didn't do so well. And Anne's planted some sort of sunflower or something. This tree's doing okay. That one's there more for flowers than anything else, if it actually survives. Trees here aren't doing too bad. No, the durian tree looks like its leaves have been fried a little bit there. This one's just for flowers again. And there's some other random plants planted here. So before we go, we're just on one of her stepdad's friends' farms, just getting some mango out of the trees here. And yes, we're picking them down using this long bamboo stick here, and it's got a little nail on the end of it. It's just using it to cut the stem holding the the branch holding the mangoes up there. So yes. Call Mum and Dad. Wait a minute. So we usually, on this land, we usually put jasmine rice and sticky rice here. They usually just use cat poo and chicken poo to fertilise this area before they put the rice. So we just let the cows come on here and just eat away at the excessive grass here because we haven't got cattle. So if the neighbours are going to do that for us and leave some poo behind, there you go. Instant natural fertiliser as well. Because we don't have cattle yet. But we've got to get the plough in here probably next month and to turn all this soil over. Get it ready for rice season. But yeah, people mark a lot of their land traditionally. See all these trees along here? So like marking the border of the land. But it's a pretty big piece here. Like this big piece of land here originally cost us about 600,000 baht. And goes right down to, there's a big tree there. Right down there. There's a big tree and that's where our land sort of ends. On that one. And we bought another piece of land that's attached to this for about 40,000 baht. Because the owner that had this land, a little bit of a story there. This land was actually owned by, I think it was Anne's step auntie or something. Except she was a bar girl and tended to manipulate a lot of money out of people, but was also where she built a nice big mansion in town here. And but then lost it all to gambling and drinking. And she lost this land to gambling. And she went to a loan shark to get money off him to gamble it. But the loan shark was a close friend of the family, ironically. And so because Anne's stepfather had looked after this guy really well as a kid, he said he would hold on to the land until eventually some family member had enough money to buy it back. So me and Anne bought the land back because we thought, well, this is where her stepfather and mother basically had lived the last 20, 30 years in this area and doing rice farming and all that sort of stuff. So we went, okay, let's get the land back. And he gave it to us at a reasonable price because he gave it to us at the price he had lent the money to, so he didn't put any interest on it. And yeah, and we bought it back. He done it as a favour to Anne's stepdad for how Anne's stepdad had looked after him as a kid when he was poor and didn't have any money. Anne's stepdad would sometimes buy food for him and transport him around. And so, yeah, good karma. That's what I say. Sometimes do good things come back. But yeah, so a fair bit of land here. But because they do more organic farming here and they're not really using fertilisers, the rice doesn't grow as big as it would if you were using fertilisers. So, yeah, when people say, I'm going to charge you extra for the rice because it's organic, everything's organic around here and they charge you exactly the same rice. I think that's a Western concept where they charge you extra for something that's considered organic. I'm just going to say, in Western society, right, we're charging extra for meat, extra for eggs, extra for everything if it's grown organically. But out here in a lot of these Asian countries, they can't even afford the fertiliser. They're doing everything the old-fashioned way, with chicken poo, with cow poo, and they're doing it all fairly naturally in a lot of these farming areas because reality is they're too poor to be able to afford the expensive fertilisers or pesticides. So they're just dealing with it the natural way. And so everything is organic here. Even the chickens are free range because they just let them wander all over the farms. The ducks, they just let them wander all over the farms. That's probably why a lot of them disappear and there's wild chickens everywhere. And, but yeah, that's what I don't get about the West. Oh, we're going to charge you an extra $4 for a dozen eggs because it's organic and they're free range. Well, God forbid. They're all freaking free range here. No price difference at all. But let's keep looking around Anne's checking out fruit trees. Actually, I don't know what she's doing. She's wandering through the forest area there, just the more dense area, checking for various types of things that may be of interest. So I'll just walk you down here to this other section of the land. See, originally the farm border was right here, but the guy that had the land documents for this amount of the land, he said to us, well, give me an extra 40,000 baht and I'll give you this big chunk here of land down to that tree. And we thought, yeah, why not? It's just a extension on our actual land. So yeah, maybe in time I might buy other chunks of it as well. But right now, that's a pretty big chunk to be doing some farming, I think. This one, he keeps jumping up on me constantly because we give him food occasionally and snacks. So now we're his new best friend. This one here. And over here, we got Pepsi, one of the other farmers' dogs here. Also selling durian trees. Yeah. 80 baht. Just look at these. Huge. Not bad price either. 80, 100 baht. 80 baht look like a bit more dodgy ones, but yeah, see, durian plants, that's what we've tried planting a couple of these. We're going to see how they grow, but I might plant a few more later as well. How size is that one? There's my hand. That's how big they are. So a couple of hours away from Chiang Mai now, so almost home. And we've just stopped at a durian place. I don't know, I do love durian. So we're going to buy ourselves one durian here. They're not bad price. They're between 80 and 100 baht a kilo, I think, by the looks of it here. So we're going to give them a go. Get ourselves some to take home. Going to be a bit smelly in the car, I think, but nice snack. It's almost like a pseudo dinner, the durian. So we're going to enjoy. But yes, it's been a busy week, a busy 3 weeks, I'm just going to say. But anyway, if you like these sort of videos, hit like and please subscribe.